Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome, welcome. Happy Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, right? Yeah, today's Wednesday. We do these on Wednesdays. Goodness, Michael. Thanks for joining us for one of our Know Your Department series. Guys, this is going to be the first time that we're doing it with safety compliance. So we're excited to have Brandon and Crystal on. We'll be starting shortly. We had a good number of people registered for this, so as per usual, we're going to wait a few more minutes until around 2:05 and then we'll get started. So hang tight, guys. All right, guys, we'll start in a few more minutes. Again, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Today's Know Your Departments webinar is going to be brought to you by Safety Compliance. So we're going to have Crystal and Brandon leading the way, and we'll also have Jason. He'll be watching for questions. So if anyone has any questions, pop them in the chat, pop them in the Q&A section. You got some few different areas there. And then at the end of it as well, we will open it up for some Q&As at the end. But we're in for a good presentation here. We'll wait about another minute or so. I saw the final countdown reminder going out, so we have a few more flying in here. So you know what? I'm just gonna stay unmuted. We'll get this rolling. But again, thanks so much for joining us. This is going to be recorded, and we're going to add this to our Know Your Department series that we have with different departments. So we're excited to have you here. It's a good opportunity to join during these specific or this specific series because you get to learn about the different departments that are within the Evans network, whether you're an agent out in the field or someone here locally at the corporate office. So. Um, yeah, I think we're good to go here. So everyone, I'm going to hand this over to Brandon and Crystal, and they're going to lead the way. So guys, when you are ready, the baton is yours.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. So, like Mike said, my name is Brandon Bayshore. I'm a director of safety here at Evans. This presentation was put together by Tom Burke, the vice president of safety and compliance. Unfortunately, Tom had some last minute travel pop up, so he's not able to join us today. But I'm hoping me and Crystal can put together a pretty good presentation and do it justice for him. So, we're going to jump right in and we're going to go on to our agenda. So key areas we're going to touch on for our safety department update. Consolidation of programs and staff, event and driver focused areas, and then our compliance update. As you are aware, we have split the country up into different regions. This way we are able to provide our agents and our staff with a single point of contact for areas or for any incidents that occur in an agent's state. As you can see here on the screen, we have that regional team defined by that blue or that green and red. Green there is Ed Luna. And as you can see, he has most of the Northeast all the way out to California. And then Ian Charles is our Southern regional director, and he has the South and East area as well. Your regional directors do a lot of functions for us here. They are doing your driver eligibility reviews. So anytime there is an accident or an unsafe driving violation that is noted during a roadside, they're going back and reviewing if that driver still qualifies with Evans. They're managing that risk in that sense. They're also there to help with any compliance concerns you have or any complaints around safety. Also, if you have any questions around safety or regulations. Underneath them, they have the field safety managers. You can see there on the screen, we've got 6 safety managers, and they each have their own little region. So you can see in the top right, Jason Green has from Maine down to Pennsylvania. Eddie Gray, West Virginia to South Carolina. Georgia is split between Nicole Challen and Mike Smith. You've got Devin Campbell from Texas all the way to Washington, and John Waddington has the rest there in yellow. Field safety managers are your one touch go for anything safety related. They should be your first point of contact for any questions you have. They should also be the point of contact for any things drivers have questions on. Regs, securement, questions around violations they received, right? Wanting to set up safety meetings, wanting to have somebody come out and assist them on site with a large onboarding or Smith system training in person, right? And then any systematic issues that you may be seeing as well. If it's a continual log issue, we're not able to get the ELD to connect for some reason, they can also assist with that troubleshooting process. The field safety team also goes out, like I mentioned, they do those safety meetings. One of our big goals this year was to get out and have large meetings, at least 2 across the country this year per region director. So we're looking to have multi-agent meetings, bringing more drivers in and touching more drivers in that sense, going over common trends we're seeing, what programs are out there, what enforcement is doing, and what we can do to help everybody improve. So let's move on to crashes and roadside inspections into our event and driver focused areas here. So crashes, all crashes that come in are now reviewed and graded for fault and severity, right? And when we're reviewing these crashes now, it's all done by Tom Burke himself. He's looking at them, he's reviewing them. Are they DOT preventable? What's the severity? And then our next bullet point there, remedial versus non-remedial. That's where Tom is deciding if additional training could have prevented this incident from occurring, right? Crashes are not all just in the sense of one vehicle into another. There are also incidents where you run over somebody's yard, you put ruts in the yard, and you need to get towed out. Unfortunately, that would qualify as a DOT preventable possible if you were to get cited. And that's where our tiered approach comes in. We have tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 3 is non-DOT recordable. Tier 2 is DOT recordable, but not on a public highway. And tier 1, DOT recordable and on public highway. So we're really diving in and we're reviewing after every crash, seeing if the driver still qualifies, helping them get set up with driver legal plan if it's necessary, and making sure we're addressing that risk right when it happens. On the other end, roadside inspections. Some of you may be familiar with our clean roadside inspection program that we have. So we truly believe in rewarding drivers for doing their job very well and making sure that they keep their truck in working order, that it's safe, it's clean, and it's maintained, and that the drivers are doing what they're supposed to as well. So as you can see on the screen here, last year in 2023, we paid out $286,000 in clean roadside bonuses to the drivers themselves. This year, year to date, we are at $166,000 paid out so far. So far, we've seen that dip a little bit year over year, mainly due to the amount of inspections we're receiving. So it's a wonderful program we have. Really helps emphasize and drive that safety aspect and ties it into that financial piece for the driver. We have it where it's set up where drivers get a $300 gift card for a clean level 1 inspection, a $200 gift card for a clean level 2, and a $100 gift card for a clean level 3. With that being mentioned, any hazmat inspections, those payments get doubled to the driver. So really exciting stuff, really helps the drivers be able to keep up with maintaining their trucks as well, or just rewards them for maintaining their equipment, making sure everything's in working order. Moving on to unsafe hours of service and vehicle maintenance violations. So overall, we've seen a decrease in all these areas. And we are also touching all of these violations as they come in now. So every unsafe that comes in goes into a ticketing system. We have staff on the regional team that reaches out to the driver. They're determining eligibility, providing remedial training after all of these incidents. So we're trying to be a little more proactive before a driver would become unqualified, helping provide the tools and training to help them stay qualified. Cell phone and handheld violations. As you can see, once again, year over year, these are slowly dropping. We were at 90 handheld or cell phone violations back in 2021. And last year, we are at 56 total for 2023. So nice steep drop off, getting closer to that 50% almost. As you all are aware, cell phone and handheld violations are a no tolerance here at Evans. That being said, we couple them with our driver legal plan services that we offer to the drivers, and we are also able to help them fight and hopefully get those dismissed and off a driver's record so they can continue to stay leased on with us and that it doesn't stay on their record anywhere else. Unplugged ELDs. So unplugged ELD isn't one that we typically see on the roadsides. We do see it very infrequently, but we are looking now at every roadside that comes in and we're checking to see if the driver is using their ELD at the time of the stop. If they're not, we're trying to help troubleshoot, figure out why, and help prevent that issue from going forward. For inspections, we have really revamped our federal inspection program. And that's what that FHWA stands for, that federal inspection on the truck that needs to be done a minimum of once a year per the regulations, here at Evans, we require it 2 times a year to help keep it a little more updated, a little more fresh, right? So for inspections we get with out of service orders in major components or systems, we're now sending those trucks to go get inspections to make sure that they are repaired and that it's signed off on, right? Um, we're looking at major components there, air leaks that are significant, systematic, brake issues that are significant and systematic, right? So we're really diving in more on that side of things to help keep the trucks refreshed, keep them maintained, and hopefully pay out more of those clean inspections to the drivers. Hours of service internal. So this is what we're doing on the internal side for hours of service. Like I mentioned, those unplugged ELDs, not only are we checking when we get roadsides, the ELD devices these days are incredibly smart. And we have increased visibility due to different system enhancements we've put in place now. These ELD devices essentially tell us when the device is unplugged. There is no reason to unplug the ELD. The ELD is a regulation and it is there to keep everybody safe. All right. Unplugging a ELD device and driving with it unplugged knowingly can be subject to termination of lease for that driver. So there's really no reason to do it. We'd rather see a driver go into violation than unplug their ELD. We can help, we can train, we can speak to it. Personal conveyance is our next subject. So personal conveyance we do allow here at Evans. Personal conveyance is allowed up to 50 miles. That is our guideline that we have set. And it is able to be used for different reasons, right? The main thing is that we're not furthering a load when we're using it. I'm going to let Crystal speak to it more at the end of the call if anybody has any questions. It is notoriously a gray area, and enforcement varies from state to state, officer to officer, because it's what's called a guidance by the FMCSA. Corrective action process. So corrective action process is one of our newer initiatives that we've implemented within the past year and a half at this point. The corrective action process is a retention tool for us. So what we're looking at doing, it's a 4-step process, nothing too crazy. We look at every log that comes in from the previous day, and we see if there are any violations on there or any malfunctions that we see. Our team here looks and verifies if those appear correct to be true violations or malfunctions, or if it's some type of system issue. If it's some type of system issue and it's legally able to be fixed, we work on trying to fix that and make what changes are needed with the driver to get it where that issue does not continue forward. If it appears to be a valid violation, our team reaches out, we talk with the driver, we help train the driver to prevent that violation from occurring again. Right? So if we have that driver continue to have the same issue over and over again within a 6-month period, they're going to slowly work their way up this 4-step process. We don't really have many folks get to step 4 of the corrective action process, mainly due to the fact that every step along the way, we are providing training, we're providing the regulation, and we're providing the understanding as to this is why you went into violation or whatever issue the driver had. So we've seen a lot of improvement in our hours of service score. And thankfully, I like to correlate it to due to Crystal's hard work and her team's hard work and this corrective action process. ELD malfunction. So kind of goes hand in hand with that corrective action process. We have been noticing ELD malfunctions when they come across, and we've been helping identify and troubleshoot with the drivers when applicable. Moving over to vehicle maintenance side of the house, those federal inspections, like I mentioned, we have a requirement here at Evans where it's to be done twice a year. Once at the owner of the truck's expense, and the other one, Evans will absorb and pick up the expense for that inspection. Like I mentioned previously on inspections, the roadside inspections, if we are getting out of service orders on a roadside and they are severe or systematic issues, we are now starting to send those drivers, or those trucks, I should say, to be getting another FHWA inspection, federal inspection, to ensure that everything is prepared correctly and signed off on. Another program that we have implemented here is the record of maintenance form. So record of maintenance is one of the feedbacks that we got during a previous audit. And this is just helping us keep everything documented, showing what records of what maintenance has been done to this vehicle. How are we maintaining it? Right. And this way we have proof for the driver. It also helps them keep track of what all they're putting into their truck. And DVIR after roadsides. So DVIR is pretty simple. It's the driver vehicle inspection report. For those of you on the Evans side of the house, that would be our OmniTrax device, and it's pretty simple. It's your pre-trip, post-trip at the end of the day and at the beginning of the day. The main thing here is that we're marking any defects that are noted during that pre-trip or that post-trip, right? So this was another piece of feedback we got during one of our audits. We were having issues where drivers were not notating any defects on their driver vehicle inspection report. And enforcement said that's fine if they weren't noted at the beginning of the trip, but at the end of the trip, if we gave you a roadside inspection with vehicle maintenance violations, you need to notate them on your post trip then. So that was observed. So we now have a process to help ensure we have that compliance. Moving over to CSA scores and audits. So CSA scores overall for all the DOTs that we operate are continuing in a downward trend. Like I mentioned with the hours of service, it is a very tough needle to move and it takes time. The only real way to move these CSA scores is clean roadsides and time. That being said, due to our efforts, you can see here we have 3 of our 18 authorities are at 0 alerts. 9 are at 1 alert, 4 at 2 alerts, and we're only down to 2 that have 3 alerts right now. Evans and West are down to 2 alerts. It's the first time since August of 2023. So continuing to make progress there and moving forward in a great direction. 2 recent audits that we have had completed here. We had West Motor Freight audited back in September of 2023. It was a successful audit. No fines or safety rating change was determined. So that was wonderful, and it was thanks to everybody's hard work in staying in compliance, getting us the documents, and the great work everybody does every day. Same goes with e-transport carriers. So back in March 2024 of this year, we also were audited for e-transport carriers. We had no fines or safety rating change with that one as well. Moving on to hazmat. So hazmat has been seeing a uptick in freight moving. And with that, we have put in some new technology around there. So we've helped with the billing screen, and we've gone through and made it where agencies that aren't hazmat trained or showing as hazmat trained are unable to bill hazmat loads. This helps maintain the compliance there and helps it where we're not moving freight that we shouldn't be without the proper training. That being said, we're also stepping up our driver training and our agency training. So when agencies come in, we're providing training right off the bat with them if they're looking to move hazmat. Same with drivers. If drivers are coming over or coming in with a hazmat endorsement on their license, we are requiring them to do that hazmat training, whether they are choosing to haul hazmat or not with that agency. That way, we're always maintained and always in that compliance in case they were to move any hazmat. Moving on to the driver 360 compliance screen. So this was one of our big ones that we really pushed out. The driver compliance screen here is a one-stop shop for agencies to be able to see what renewable documents they have coming up for drivers. So as you can see on the screen here, it is going to look a little different for the agencies. You won't have that big long bar at the top showing all these different options. You would just see the, oh, I apologize, technical malfunction there. You would just see the driver's name and the truck, and then all these documents next to it. So as you can see here, we've got our medical card, our self-certification, a manager review. That one is done here at corporates. The CDL expiration date, safety awareness training. That one is also done here at corporate. And then our hazmat endorsement, if that's applicable. So the main ones we're looking here is your MediCard, your self-cert, your CDL, to help make sure that those are compliant. They're not out of date, right? So we're now putting this information out there and in front of agents to be able to see. And we're doing it with a familiar way. So as you can see right now, most of these are green. Anything that's yellow is coming due within the next 40 to 60 days, right? And then anything that is red is already past due, right? So that would be out of compliance. So this is one where the agencies are able to get this information into us right away. They can be a little more proactive with it instead of reactive. And that way we can help keep the drivers on the road longer. And then last but not least, to finish up here with those safety meetings that that I mentioned earlier in the presentation, we've had a lot of participation from local law enforcement. So with that, we're looking to partner with commercial enforcement, have them be a part of it, show them that we're making strides, we're wanting to ensure we're a compliant carrier, a safe carrier, and it goes a long way with them. And we also see it helps build that inroads between drivers and enforcement, right? This is a free environment for them to ask questions to enforcement, get their take on things, and get better understanding on stuff as well, right? So with these meetings, most of the time we do try to bring in enforcement if we're able to, at least the multi-agency ones. If this is something that would interest you and you would like to have a safety meeting, please reach out to your field safety manager or your director over your region and ask them to set a meeting up. We'll definitely make every effort to get there when we can, when it's available. And if you would like, we'll try to get enforcement involved as well. With that, I'm going to turn over to question and answer.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Brandon. A lot of good stuff that was not only shown but really explained. Love all the programs that are out there for the drivers. Does anyone have any questions? I'm not seeing anything typed in as of right now, but yeah, guys, feel free to ask here. Brandon, on one part that you said, I think it was with the clean roadside or the clean, roadside awards, if you want to say, or that you give out. You said it's lower this year or versus last year because of the number of inspections. So would you say like maybe part of that is, I mean, I remember from my time in safety if you have visual defects out there, right, a light out, something that prompts to be pulled over, are you
Mhm.
seeing, I guess we'll say, less visual defects that could probably play into that thing of not receiving those violations as much as last year?
Yeah. And it's not just the visual defects as well, Mike. It could also be the unsafe driving behaviors out
Sure.
there. We've
Hmm.
made a lot of inroads there with that unsafe driving score coming down as well. So those are two completely controllable ones
Hmm.
where we can reduce our pull-in rate or
Hmm.
getting pulled over. So I
Hmm.
would say it's definitely due to our vehicle maintenance being better, less visual defects, better driving habits, helping reduce those inspection rates.
Right, right. And I know you mentioned like what that's so cool to see that the CSA scores or trends have been going down. Can you give maybe like a I don't know, a 30-second spiel of like what CSA is when you mention that and like just how points work with a carrier versus a truck?
Yeah, of course. So with CSA, the CSA score is something that the federal government has come up with to help compare trucking companies to each other and drivers to each other as well, right? So anytime you get a roadside inspection, as long as those violations on that roadside inspection are not what's called a non-CSA violation. Those are typical placarding issues. You don't have your insurance card with you, stuff like that. Those don't have points associated with them. But all the other violations that show up, if you have a flat tire or you're missing a mud flap, those have CSA points associated with them. Those points for the driver will stay on their record for 3 years. For us as the motor carrier, we are getting hit with those points as well from that same roadside. The only
Mm-hmm.
difference is those points stay on us as the motor carrier for 2 years instead of the
Hmm.
3, right?
Hmm.
These CSA points are what tells the federal government to go in and inspect depending
Hmm.
on levels. So we're compared to other motor carriers within the same fleet size range, and they put us all on a percentile, and that's how they determine
Hmm.
who they need to go in and audit and what they need to do.
Nice, nice. And if I remember right, with CSA, it's kind of like golf, right? The lower the score, the better off you are. And maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that violations are rated, between a 1 and 10 points is based off of, I always looked at it as if that violation, how likely is that violation to cause an accident? Maybe you can reward a little bit better, but how are violations rated in that 1 to 10 point scale?
Yeah, of course. So you are exactly right. Every violation that comes across has a severity score between 1 and 10.
Hmm.
Like you said, it's based off the severity of the infraction. Some are, I wouldn't even say out there, but some are more egregious than others.
Hmm.
So a handheld device, which I think we can all comfortably say is probably one of the most high risk factors out there on the road today, is a 10, right?
Hmm.
And the way that FMCSA goes through, they have a methodology where they time weight. They want more of your recent actions to have a bigger
Hmm.
impact on your CSA score than your old action. So they multiply everything within that 3-year time period. So for the first year, if as a driver, first year it's multiplied by 3, that cell phone violation would be 30 points on that driver's record.
Mm-hmm.
After a year, it would drop to 20 points. It's multiplied by 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right? After 2 years, it drops to a multiplier of 1. 10 points after 3 years, it completely falls off.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it definitely has severity to it.
Right. Right. Yeah, and one of the things that we run with the drivers is called a PSP report, which I always like to look at it as PSP report is kind of like a driver's credit report for being an owner operator. You know, like carriers are going to look at their roadside inspection history just like a creditor would look at our finance history more or less. Do I see trends as a carrier? That's going to kind of guide me on, do I want to move forward with this guy, or do I not, based off of what I'm seeing? Because we as a carrier don't want to take on someone's repetitive or bad habits to then possibly be affected by those habits if they happen while running under our DOT.
Well, no, exactly. And that's where we do our best on our side in the qualification department
Right.
over here to ensure that we're bringing on candidates that qualify based off our criteria.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, these drivers are not just doing a job. They're representing not only the Evans brands, but ultimately the agents brands.
Absolutely.
Right? One rolled over load can cost them a customer.
Yeah.
Right? And we don't want that. Our
Right.
goal is to help provide, keep the drivers safe, keep the freight rolling safely, and help foster those relationships with your customers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, right on, right on. And the fact that you show just how the CSA numbers are going down, not only does that show us that, you know, we do take that seriously. We want to bring on the best drivers, and we have a team that helps support those drivers once they do come on. Excellent stuff. Jason Green, I saw you have your hand up. Unless you're just stretching, I'm going to allow your mic if you had anything that you wanted to say.
Thanks, Mike. I did. Mr. Bashore, could you go back to the compliance slide, please? So while Brandon is making his way back over to the compliance slide, obviously he went through everything. This is a tool that we provide to all of our terminals based on, you know, your terminal code. This shows all of your drivers on what you're doing, just like Brandon explained, on all of your due dates. The one date that I wanted to point out to make sure that everybody was aware of, he went across the top showing all of the med card, when med cards expire, when CDLs expire, but then on the bottom, when each driver is assigned to that truck, you will also see where truck inspections, their 180-day inspection date, that is also provided there for you. So when the safety department, when your field safety manager or a driver calls in and says, hey, I don't know when my inspection's due, or why is safety calling me saying that something is coming up or something is due, and then right down there, Brandon, right underneath where the med card that Brandon had pointed out, MED, and then self-cert, directly under self-cert, it says INSP, ISNP, excuse me, and that is for your 180 day 6 months inspections. So as those are coming due, when that box turns yellow, or when you see that coming due, please reach out to your driver and let the driver know. Maybe the driver is one of those, you know, super truckers, one of those real on top of the ball kind of drivers that go, yeah, I already know this is coming up. But we have plenty of drivers that can use the reminder and the assistance. So we at the corporate office have provided all of our agents in the compliance tab with all of the important dates and due dates so that you can make sure to stay on top of your drivers just as well. So that's what I wanted to point out, Mike. I appreciate it. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you. Thank you for working with me for that technical glitch there.
No, good call out. Good call out, Jay. Just yeah, this is a great tool. It's just like on your main status screen and seeing a driver kind of going through the approval or the truck going through the approval process. This is going to help once they are on, you keep track of all of those expiration type documents. And Brandon, is that only seen in here, or are there any kind of email notifications that go out to different parties when coming close?
Yes, my understanding is that there is the automatic email notifications going out as well. I don't remember the cadence off the top of my head, but I believe it follows every 15 days. So I think it starts at 60, 45, 30, 15. And then I think after that it goes to a daily.
Excellent, excellent. Yep, and I believe those are sent to each location's, we'll say, dash safety email address. If you're not getting them, just we can always check to see who is in those safety email groups, or if you're an agent on and you just kind of want to refresh that, just let TechDeck know who you want to add or remove, and we'll make sure that that email group is the most current, so you have the proper people in place to get them. We got a little chat message here. We got Mark on that compliance screen. Is there a place to find the 2290 status for the truck?
So on the compliance screen, I do not believe there is. I don't think we have that opened on here. And that I can go back and get some more information on, and I can follow up with you and see if that's something we're looking to add. Jason, I see you have your hand as well.
Yeah, I was just going to let you know, Mark. I was looking at this while the Mike and Brandon were talking. As of right now, on the compliance screen, no, there is no tab or space here for the 2290. If a driver or an agent does have questions or are in need of a 2290, the safety department does have our own email dedicated directly just for 2290s. And the email address on that is safety2290@evansdelivery.com. So, Mr. Rodnick, I don't know if that is something that you can maybe I'll go ahead and add that into the chat as well. But we do have a email group just for the 2290.
Yes, we do. And I think it's evans2290@evansdelivery.com, I think. But yeah, good call out with that. Good stuff. Any other questions? It's been a good webinar, good series to talk about, and really cool to hear just the progress that's being made. Are there any other programs, guys, that are out there for drivers? I know we talked about the DLP, which is great. It's like $2.98 a week, $2.98 a week, that they can participate in. We have a plate program. Any other kind of programs out there that are maybe, we'll say, compliance focused and to help maybe reduce the chances of some of those higher tiered point violations?
I do know that we have the Best Pass program for the tolling. That'll also help you see if we're getting bypassed. So it should alert the driver a little earlier to see if they're being selected to pull in. That'll help them reduce with bypassing a scale accidentally and getting hit with a failure to obey a traffic control device violation.
Yeah, that has become a popular program, that Best Pass. I've seen that on quite a few settlements.
Yes.
Hey, I want to add to that. We also have the DriveWise that we're rolling out as well that runs through the OmniTrax ELD program. And we're working right now on getting it set up with our GeoTab account as well.
Oh, nice.
Provides the same information, but a little more insight on, upcoming, traffic areas, alerts on even weather alerts, things like that. So
Wow.
drivers can sign up for that. There is a fee for it. I believe it's $5 a weekly settlement deduction, but they can get set up on that. And emails have gone out to give them information on how they can sign up for that through a web link.
Oh, nice. Now, is that an app or is that something that's on the tablet then?
It's an
Crystal?
app, but it's actually
Okay.
already set up on their Evans tablets, and
Oh,
it
there you
works
go.
through the OmniTrax ELD with the GPS.
Sweet. Good stuff. Cool. Oh, and I see. Thank you, Chrissy. I see you active in the chat, talking with Mark on the 2290 and Jay. Cool. Any other questions, guys? I'm not seeing any final words that you that Crystal, Jay, Brandon, you want to add?
Yeah, I'll close out with saying, like I mentioned earlier, this is a team effort. This is not just one team or one group of individuals making this difference in these scores and in these programs. So it's thanks to the hard work of everybody involved in safety, not just this Evans team here, the Evans employees, but also the agents and the dispatchers and ultimately the drivers. Without them, none of this is possible. And we thank you for all your hard work, guys and ladies, to help reduce the scores, put us in a better place, and help win you all more freight.
Awesome. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Brandon, Crystal, Jason, for the inputs. I saw Ed was on here too, so you had got quite a bit of a safety presence here. Got a good team out there supporting the agents. So this webinar will be is recorded. So if you want your teammates or anyone else, or if you want to review it again, we will make it available. Just email the training department, and we can get you that link. But yeah. Thanks everyone for joining us. And if you have any other questions, feel free to jot them down. I'll go mute. If you are satisfied or if you're good to go, you may log off. There will be a survey going on after for all that are registered. So if you don't mind taking a few minutes afterwards, I believe you'll see it near the end of the day or tomorrow. Just answer some of those questions. Give us good feedback to know how to continue to provide value in these opportunities. So thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the day, and see you on the next one. Thanks,
Thank you
Brandon,
all.
Crystal, and Jason.